Hey there, and welcome to the first Q&A session with Baum Guitars. I am Jeppe Garfunkel, and I will go through a lot of the questions that we have gotten about the basses that we have teased you for the last weeks, month or so. I think so. Let's go. So first and foremost, like we posted on our social media like a few days ago, like if any of you had any questions or comments about the two bass guitars that we have been showing sneak peeks of here and there, and a lot of you had. So thanks. I have handpicked a few of them from our Facebook and Instagram, and we're ready to take a look at them right now. So the first, and maybe one of the best questions is, what do they sound like? And I could talk about how dynamic they are, how punchy they are, how they cut through the mix, but I don't think that's the best way to describe them. So let's just kick off with some sound. When will the two new basses be available? And the short answer to that is from October 20th. The two new basses, the Nidhogg and the Wingman, will be available to pre-order. You can pre-order these either directly from your Baum retailer, your preferred retailer, or you can grab one directly from Baum as well. The timeline is that we kick it off and release everything. Then we will spend the winter on manufacturing them, get them shipped to Denmark, take them into our Danish workshop, go through every single one of them to make sure that the quality is okay, that they are flawless, that they are set up properly. We will inspect them, set them up, do everything we can to make sure that they are ready to rock once they arrive to you. When is that? We expect to deliver these around April next year. Another great question is, will the Nidhogg and the Wingman bass be a one-time only event, or will they be a solid part of the original series? We spent the last 2 years, I think, to find a way to integrate the models that were developed and designed and tested in the Danish custom shop. Try to speak with artists and customers, find out like which specs and details they like the most. Then take that feedback, finding the right manufacturer for the new basses. And now we're ready. Two new basses will be a solid part of the new original series. So a lot of the questions have focused on the specs on the basses. Of course, that's what you want to know, so you can figure out like, is it something that is new or familiar to me? And the general approach to Baum guitars is that it's a mix. Like, our instruments are new yet familiar to pick up and play and the sound of them. So just to dive into let's start with the fundamentals, which are the woods on each instrument. We know the wood makes a difference in the tone and the character of the instrument. It's not the only thing that makes a difference, but it does make a difference. The wood that we have used on the bodies for the two basses are on the Nidhogg. That's a Nyato. That's a locally sourced wood that has the similar structure, grain structure, sound quality as tried and tested mahogany. The Wingman bass will have a classic configuration of an alder body. Both basses will have a classic maple neck, which to the sound adds some clarity, some bite. And then we have another like classic feature, which is the rosewood fretboard which adds some warmth and some depth to the tone. If we take a closer look to the necks, then we have like 20 frets. We have 34-inch scale length, which is this classic long scale length that you know from the P bass and the J bass. We have a 12-inch radius fretboard, and the nut width is 41.9 millimeters. One of you asks, what is the expected weight on the basses? And the way that we usually approach guitar and bass designs, like instrument designs in general, is that we don't want to make something that's super heavy, because super heavy is usually also super uncomfortable, and uncomfortable means that it's uninspiring to pick up. It's not the natural thing that you want to pick up and play. So the weight that we're trying to aim is 4 kilos on the basses. That's on both of them. That is, of course, since both are made of wood, and they're made with processes that involves a lot of handwork. So we will have some tolerances. Some will be a little over, some will be a little under, but the general point will be around 4 kilos. For those of you who don't use kilos, that's 8.8 pounds, I guess. An eagle-eyed viewer spotted that the pickups in the Nidhogg and the Wingman bass are not traditional third-party pickups. And that's because the pickups are Goldsound pickups. And Goldsound is a proprietary brand by Baum, so it's our own pickup brand. It's pickups that are designed, manufactured by us to our instruments only. So it's kind of like the heart of each instrument. Since we care so much about the visual design of the instrument, because that's what inspires you to pick it up, we also want to design the sound of it. So that's basically the essence of Goldsound. The particular pickups that are in these spaces are the power jabs. This is a traditionally wound single coil bass pickup with an extra punch. And this is just to make sure that you cut through the mix in the right way. The overall specs on the pickups are that they are Alnico 5 magnets. They are wound with Form VAR 42 AVG wires, and they have a resistance, like the output is 8.5K on the neck and 9.5K on the bridge pickup. And to follow up on that, one of you asked, are the Goldsound power jabs active or passive? The quick answer to that is passive. But there is an explanation as well. And the reason that we have chosen to use passive electronics and passive pickups in these spaces are that through a lot of chats with live musicians, studio musicians, producers, a sound engineer, customers who play at home, everything, like a broad variety of musicians, the overall feedback tends to be that passive pickups just have more touch sensitivity. They have an increased dynamic, like headroom, to the way that they interact better to whatever the player puts into them. The reason for that is that active pickups often tend to have a lot of compression in them. This also gives that the tone controls on a passive circuit is a lot more simple than the active ones. Like, you don't have the options for a lot of mini switches to cut or add like ear-piercing highs or over booming low bend. You just get like an uncomplicated tone, which on full is just like the natural voice of the instrument, and from there you can just sort of dial it back. It leaves you with like the pure voice of the instrument, the way it was like designed and intended to sound like. You get a dynamic attack that's not compromised by the like over compression that some active circuits can give you. You also get the simplicity of not having to worry about, are my batteries fresh? Like, does the battery just suddenly run out of power during the gig? It's less to worry about. You get more dynamics, more touch sensitivity, and just the push sound of the instrument. That's the passive segment that we love. One of you asked another really good question, which is, what do they cost? Hit the link in the description box. You'll find all the updated information about like delivery dates, pricings, where to grab them. Everything will be in the link in the description box. So click that. One of you asked, where can I get my own Shea Adelican? For that, I suppose you mean the Shea Adelican bass. Shea Adelican is the first signature artist that we have ever worked with. He's currently the bass player in the Gorillaz live band. And earlier this year, we built him this hot pink lightning strike thunder bass, which is really, really dope. We've teased a few times that these will be available to purchase later, and I can't say everything now, but I can say that we are working on a really cool project in our custom shop, which will be super limited, super special, super pink, and super, super cool. So stay tuned for that. We'll have a lot more information about that, hopefully soon. 5 strings. 5 strings. 5 strings. That's a question that occurred a lot. And thanks. It's to be honest, it's not something that we have planned to do at the moment, but as a lot of the things we do here is that we really care about your suggestions and your ideas and wherever you want to go with like the direction that you are interested in seeing like our instruments go in. A good example is like this launch that we're talking about right now. So this is based on feedback from a lot of you who has asked for versions of the bass that are non-custom shop. I think mostly because of the pricing, that's fair. And this is where we are now. So if a lot of you asked for 5-string basses, then that is something that we will look into. Seriously. So if you sit at home and think, oh man, that Nidhogg bass would look super, super dope with a 5th string added. Just comment it, tell us, email it, DM it. When we can see that there's an idea in like spending the time in redesigning the Nidhogg bass and putting that into manufacturing, then that will be because a lot of you have asked for it. So you are kind of pushing us in the direction that we should go in. What are the knob configurations? The Nidhogg has 4 different knobs. So you get a master volume, you get a blend, so you can blend the neck and the bridge pickup as you like. And then you get a tone pod for the neck pickup, and you get a tone knob for the bridge pickup. And then again on the Wingman bass, you have 3 different knobs. That's a master volume, that's a blend knob for the pickups, bridge and neck, and then a master tone. Simple, classic, effective, easy to use. Any plans to make a Vega bass? Well, we do say that Vega is mega, but right now I think we're keeping it simple with, like we've just introduced the whole series with our 2 guitar shapes, the Wingman guitar and the Calf. And I think for now we're just keeping it simple and focusing on the guitars. To get back to the question I just answered with the 5 strings. Again, I'll never say never. If a lot of you ask for specific specs, configurations, models, designs, then we may take that in when we have our design meetings and see if that's a cool idea. And if it's a cool idea, then I can promise you that we will find a way to make it happen sometime, some way, somewhere. Are they easier to play because there are less strings? I feel that's a guitar player who's asked that question. I am going to answer that question as a guitar player. To be fair, I am not a bass player. I am a guitar player who knows how to play bass. That's my bass. But I have to be honest, from my point of view, I approach bass as a guitar with 4 strings. And this is the completely wrong. Like, I know the notes, I know the scales, I can find my way around it. But the thing for me as a guitar player is that I'm used to that I can noodle myself out of like most situations. If I come into like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing here, I can just like run a lick, get back to the chord, do different stuff that's like on top of the music. That's either cool or not cool, but it doesn't really change like the overall structure of the sound on the song. Bass, instead, to me, you really have to approach that instrument with intent. Like, to me, every single note that a bass player plays is with intent. Because the bass is such a big part of like the backbone of the music. So he can't just go out of the keys. The bass player has to be really careful with, is she pulling or pushing the beat, back and forth. Always locked to the drums. I think that's actually really, really difficult to play because it sounds simple, but it's everything to the song. So no, it's not easy. And also, I'm used to like gauge 10 to 48. Playing bass is really hard on my fingertips. It's almost embarrassing. Okay, last question. Can you build every guitar model as a bass? Yes and no. Yes, in that case, that it's definitely possible. We have thought about doing some of our guitar shapes as basses, but this would be a custom shop only, and it may be a one-time custom shop only ever. So I can't say anything about the price. That really depends on like if it's if we have to take one of our guitar designs and start from the ground and build it up again as a bass, that's going to cost a lot of hours to make it right, to make it work, to make it look good, and to have that Baum attention to detail that we want. If you're cool with that, then I'm pretty sure we can do that. But I said it's going to take us a lot of hours, and we're already starting like from a custom shop. But I can promise you that the final result will definitely be unique and cool and something that can rock the world.